Hi and welcome to CBN4's Primetime News package for this evening. I'm a presenter, Alian Christopher. First up in tonight's news, participating as a panelist at the One Planet Summit in Paris, France, Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerrit has called on the international community to scale up investments in building climate change resilience. He highlighted the impact of hydrometeorological events as well as slow onset events on small island developing states like Dominica. The impact is becoming more severe and even more frequent, Skerrit said. According to the Prime Minister, there is unprecedented political will to stem the emission of greenhouse gases, gradually decarbonize the electricity sector and reduce reliance on carbon-based fuels for transportation. 2 years ago, the international community demonstrated these commitments with the Paris Climate Agreement and the creation of the Green Climate Fund. Skerrit called for greater efforts in streamlining the processes to assess these funds and to implement plans and programs to assist small island developing states. He cited the creation of the Climate Resilience Executing Agency of Dominica as one solution to address these challenges. Partnership between countries and the international community to streamline processes and to create the capacities for implementation will benefit beneficiaries as well as benefactors. Prime Minister Skerrit thanked the international community for their support in responding to the impact of Hurricane Maria on Dominica. He urged countries to continue to partner with the government and the people of Dominica to create the first climate resilient nation. And the minister responsible for trade, energy and employment here in Dominica continues to urge vendors who sell agricultural produce on the streets of the capital to return to the Roseau market. More than 2 months since Dominica suffered damages from the passage of Hurricane Maria, the market facilities reopened on December 1st.
We understand the conditions immediately after the hurricane, which forced persons to go out into the streets to ply their trade. But I think right now we have the market back to a condition and situation where you can comfortably go back to plying your trade and doing business at the Roseau market. That is the purpose for the market, and that is really where all of the conditions necessary and required for proper fresh produce vending is, and not on the side of the road. We have no pipe-borne water on the side of the roads. We have no washroom facilities, that sort of thing. And really to meet the sanitary requirements needed for fresh produce vending that would exist at the Roseau market. So we want to, as much as possible, encourage all of our vendors really to return to the Roseau market. Also,
the minister stressed that due to sanitary issues, street vending in Roseau is not something that the government wants to encourage. And also making our headlines, the Sports Minister, Justin Charles, has indicated that the Ministry of Sports continues to recognize the importance of sporting activities on the well-being of Dominica's population. The minister said that chronic non-communicable disease is one of the problems plaguing the Ministry of Health.
And so we recognize that physical activities and engagement in sports where we can burn the excess calories, so we would not have to get too big, so we would control our size, and so would allow our body function to be more effective to prevent onset of diseases, chronic non-communicable diseases. But even more so post-Maria, where we recognize that we are now consuming a lot of foods that can impact on our health. I must say, normally they are there, but we will consume more of that because our local foods are not readily available. And so we consume a lot of that. And so we expect to see a little move in terms of obesity and maybe our diabetics, our hypertensives. And so we really want to caution them to engage in physical activities. But importantly, though, is the psychological impact that sports can have on the well-being of our citizens.
Charles further stated that sports has a psychological impact on individuals and therefore encouraged persons to be involved in some form of physical activities.
Most of us are stressed with the effect of Hurricane Maria, and as a result of those sporting activities that has commenced in the school, it will allow the students to engage in something that can help their psychological well-being. And so we are hoping with the onset of our other programs that we can extend that to the wider community. Now, as it relates to some of our facilities, I will try to highlight, as I said, all of them were impacted.
And stay tuned for more local news highlights after this break. And welcome back to CBN4's Primetime News Package. Ambassador to the United States and permanent representative to the Organization of American States, Vince Henderson, said he has been exploring possible areas for assistance for Dominica and thanks the government of the United States of America for providing support immediately after the hurricane.
They were involved primarily in the repatriation of American citizens in Dominica, and more so the students at the Ross University. That was a major help for us. They also provided support with plastic shittings, tarpaulins. They provided beds, blankets, really not beds, but blankets, and some other supply, personal hygiene kits and so. And they also gave us access to some of their airlift capacity, so they provided helicopters to get food to places where we had no motorable access at the time. And we're grateful for the assistance of the USAID and the U.S. government generally for providing support and responding so quickly to our needs. We really...
The Organization of American States also responded with immediate effect in Dominica's assistance, Henderson stated. He indicated that the OAS initially provided 25,000 US dollars as emergency relief support to Dominica.
That money was made available to the financial secretary and to the Treasury of Dominica, so we're grateful for that. Today, actually, on island, we just had the arrival of the White Helmets from Argentina. That is an initiative that was coordinated by the OAS with assistance from the executive secretary of the CD, they call it, is the Integral Development Unit at the OAS, headed by a Dominican, Kim Ito husband. And she's been able to provide support to us on that and coordinate with Argentina to ensure that we can get the assistance. Assistant Secretary General Mendez has also been in touch with me, and he too is working on seeing how they can get member states to respond. The OAS itself as an organization doesn't really have that kind of budget, but it has been using its convening powers to bring members together and see how they can respond to our needs, and we're grateful for that. I will continue to remain engaged with them to see how we can mobilize even further support for our rebuilding efforts.
And in other news, the 2017-2018 coaching caravan, which was officially set to begin on October 9th, will now begin on January 8th, 2018, according to the sports coordinator Trevor Shillingford. Shillingford indicated that the coaching caravan and other sporting activities had to be pushed back due to the late start of the 2017-2018 school year.
Early in the new year, we will have the commencement of the coaching caravan, and this is expected to start on January the 8th. This program offers weekly coaching in the area of cricket and netball at the primary schools. The previous commencement date was October the 9th, 2017. Also, the weekly PE and after-school sports at the primary schools will commence during the first week of the second term. Previous commencement date was September the 18th. Primary schools football coaching program will be done early in January with support from the Dominica Football Association, and this program will target the schools in the south and the east.
The coaching caravan is the sports division's flagship program, which provides cricket and netball training for primary school students around the island. And also in the news, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Sports, Culture and Constituency Empowerment, Mandra Fagan, at a press briefing on Monday, highlighted a few areas in respect to where the ministry was at the time of the hurricane on September 18th. Fagan noted that over 8 million was provided for the construction and development of sporting facilities here in Dominica.
For example, the new National Multi-Sports Complex, you may remember that earlier this year, the schematic designs were presented to cabinet and stakeholders from the representatives of the various sporting disciplines. And the next stage for that project would have been the design development phase, which would also include preparation of construction documents. For the Windsor Park Sports Stadium, we had two projects that were approved. One was the lighting of the playing field, or improvement of the lighting of the playing field, and also the construction of a new gymnasium. And work had already commenced in terms of getting quotes for the lighting, sourcing quotes for the lights, and the tendering process for the construction of the gym was ongoing at the time. However, I am sure that you all would have noticed the extensive damage that happened at the Windsor Park Sports Stadium. So government would have to do a significant amount of work in terms of bringing back the Windsor Park Sports Stadium to the international standard that it needs to be at.
The covering of the Massac basketball hard court was another talked about project that the ministry along with the government of Dominica was undertaking. Fagan indicated that the project at Massac was also at an advanced stage.
We may not have seen a lot happening on the court, but we had already given a 50% down payment to the Trinidad manufacturers, and substructure works were ongoing in preparation for the installation of the steel frame roof. And the targeted date for receipt of the steel components was September 30th of this year, and the targeted completion date for the project was supposed to be October 30th. So if Maria had not passed by, Massac basketball court would be up and running.
Presently, the site at Massac is being used for storage of light poles as the Dominica Electricity Company continues to restore power in the area. The Permanent Secretary also stated that funds were also provided in this financial year for 3 playing fields.
We had the rehabilitation of the Geneva playing field, the rehabilitation of the Colliho playing field, and the construction of a new Massac playing field, which is adjacent to the Massac basketball court.
Fagan said with the passing of Hurricane Maria, these fields in particular suffered further damages. And that takes us to the end of tonight's Primetime News package. If you've missed any of the stories, you can also catch up on CBN4.com or on our Facebook page. Until our next broadcast, I am Alan Christopher Said. Thank you for watching.